Hi everyone, I am back and I did a lot of preparation, so this is going to be the first video. Someone asked me to show how I mix the Vallejo, and the thing is that these everything that's fluid, you really have to shake it. That's really important. So all I really do is put some in a cup, as much as I think I'll need, and put that away, and I'll show you the other colors. What I have mixed up is well, I should have picked another color because I can't pronounce that one. It's anthraquinone blue, something like that. It's the 823. Then we have, and I put a little bit of white in there. So this white, the 303. Then the purple, that is ultramarine violet. It's 413. And then the one I just showed you, that's Mars yellow 304. So that's what I have mixed up. Now, I put some in a cup, as you can see. Forgot my little stir stick. Then I take Floetrol and I add the Floetrol about as much as there is paint. So I'm doing a 50-50. Then I stir it. And already it's really a perfect consistency, but I do like to add a little bit of pouring medium. Just, you know, for the smoothness of the paint. So it's a 50-50 mix. 50% Vallejo fluid acrylic, about 50% Floetrol, and just a squirt of pouring medium. And this is the bit where I want to explain it. This is not like baking a cake. You know, when you bake a cake, and they say you have to have 200 grams of cocoa and, I don't know, 200 grams of sugar. Now, doing less sugar will make it less sweet. Doing less cocoa will make it less chocolatey. But with mixing paint, it doesn't really matter, because what you're trying to achieve is a good pigmentation, and you don't want to break your binders. That's it. Now, I could put in here like polymer medium, I could put some PVA glue in here, I could put anything in here. It's just about, you know, mixing up and looking at the thickness that you're thinking, okay, that is the thickness I want, and from there on you're good to go. So right now I'm going to add the silicone, 2 drops in each color. I'm going to stir it in. There it is. Then this one. This is the blue one where I put a little bit of titanium in, because I wanted to, because that's a pretty dark blue, and I just wanted something that really matches the violet. Maybe I could use a little bit more of that violet. This one is a little thinner. And you know, you can have some paints that are thicker, some are thinner, but usually I think the best way to go is if you have the same thickness in all paints. Now this one is the thinnest. And if you let your paint stand for a while, it's always a good thing to check your thickness just before you pour, because some paints will thicken up on you, and then you'll have trouble, you know, tilting and getting your whole canvas under the covered with paint. So that's about it. Now I have a lot of paint, too much for the canvas, but you know, we'll just see how it goes. I'm going to start off with the white. then the blue, then the purple, and the Mars yellow. Now I think I'll do again the blue, and of course the white. And these cups are 100 milliliters, and I filled it up to about, I think, 75. This is a 15 by 15 canvas, so I'm sort of thinking it's enough. Now I turn it around and I release it, and as you can see, cells popping all over the place. And I'm gonna let it drip a little bit off, making those cells much and much bigger. Where's my little palette knife? There you are. So I'm going to scoop it up here, put that on, because I don't want to tilt too much, because there's so much cell action going on. You know, even tilting too much will make it all go gray or whatever. Because you have to realize that the fluid, because it's all fluid, it will mix much and much faster than you're expecting. So that's what you don't want to have. Too much movement that it goes all gray. You don't want that. Now I'm going to move it down here over the side. A little bit here on the corner, which I missed. Now this is pretty much a really full of cells kind of thing. I am going to torch it in a bit just to see if it'll give us a little bit more of the little tiny cells. Just let me fill these corners. That's it. And now I'll torch it. And it's giving us a couple of little ones. But as you could see, you really don't need to torch the painting, because the cells just pop straight out of the cup. And that's because the paint is so fluid. The thicker the paint goes, then the torching is more of a thing that you have to do. Now, this is not my colors, I gotta tell you, but I've been doing so many turquoise colors that I thought I'd just do something that I never do. But it's cool looking. I like it. Just fixing up this little corner here. Let's see. There's another little corner peeking through. But as you can see, there's absolutely no effort in making, letting that stuff sell. It just, bam, it's in your face. Now, to make it thicker, you know, the Floetrol really makes the action happen. But if you were to do this with a thicker pouring medium, like the number 2 I showed a couple of, I think 2 weeks ago, Vallejo is going to come out with that pouring medium. I don't know when it's going to be available, you know, in the shop, but they're taking it to Frankfurt, so I'll be using it over there. And that way you can make it just a little thicker. Look at that, how that sells. That is crazy. Just giving it a little torch and wham, there it goes. Now I'll get you the other one. Didn't want to get that wet, but this is the one I did with the thicker pouring medium, and I'm sure you remember the video, but it dried up really nice and has a lot of cells. And the thing is that when you're working with such thin paint, there will be a lot of explosions of cells, and they will be moving a little bit more than when you're using the studio acrylics. Now I'm going to put this one away for a bit, and then I'm going to show something else. because what I'm seeing here is almost like, I don't know, it reminds me of nature somehow. I don't know why, but it does. Now I'm going to show up close how this stuff sells. So I'm going to put a couple of colors in here. Whoops, there we go. A little bit of purple, a little bit of white, and give it a little stir. And we're going to do a squish. Now you can see how thin it is, how it's rolling off the paper. And now I'm going to squish it and open it. And look how it sells. That's incredible, isn't it? And I'm going to give it a little torch. That's it, no more than that. And I'm going to get you in close. And that's why I always say, you know, if you start out, I know how much you want to have cells. So if you start out, this is really the paint that you want, because, you know, it's effortless. If you just stir it up, you don't even have to be precise in what you're putting in the paint. You put in a little silicone and whammo, it just goes crazy. And that's kind of nice. Especially when you're starting out, because I've heard so many people say, oh, I'm not getting cells. I've tried it like 1,000,000 times and it's not working for me. And you know, that really, look at that. See how that sells? That is crazy, isn't it? Oh, that is beautiful, that bit here. Look at that. I'm going to keep this. Look at that. That is really, I love this bit here. Oh, I'm going to keep this. But I know exactly what you're talking about when you're saying, you know, that you want to, right off the bat, you really want to have something beautiful coming on your canvas. And I can understand that. So the thing is that this is, well, just a no-brainer. See that? How fluid it is. Oh, these colors are, you know, when I saw them on the canvas, I didn't really like them that much, but this is sort of, I don't know, it reminds me of stone. So giving it just a little bit. Maybe a little bit more. Let's see. I would like a little bit cell action. Let's put some white up here. There we go. Clean off the palette knife. Look at that. That's crazy, isn't it? This is really just like quartz or something. That's what it reminds me of. This bit here, that is beautiful. That will look beautiful in a piece of jewelry. It'll look like stone. That is really cool. Keeping this one too. This one has to go there too. Okay, one more, and then I'm going to, because I got the paint you see here, this is for the one I did yesterday with that black background. And I didn't video it because I thought, you know, I'm just, you know, using up the leftover paint. But I sort of think we can do that again. So let me let this roll down. Then put a little bit of that paint up here. And let's pull it down again. Whammo. There it goes. Yeah, from all paints that I've ever used, I have to say that this is really the most easiest to get those cells. It really is. A little bit of purple, kind of nice. Let it roll down here. not liking that top bit, so I've got to fix that. Ooh, it is kind of cool. You know, sometimes you have to really be able to zoom in to see, you know, this would have been nice, that little bit there. I will just leave it like this. But this really reminds me of stone. Let me get you in really close. It is beautiful. Okay, we'll keep this one too. And of course I have to be careful because you know, there's just so much room I have to let this stuff dry. And I'm planning on doing a lot of videos. Let's just do a purple and a white one. I want to see how that works out. Oh, we can do a puddle pourer, right? Let's do the puddle pourer. Okay. Little bit too thick for the puddle pour. Okay, let's wipe it. There you go. Oh, that is kind of cute there. I like that. I like mostly this when I have cells and then there's something that is sort of wavy, you know, just like a stream of paint. Only this one doesn't have enough color for me to really like it. Let's see, something like that. And then let it come down. Let's see what happens there. Not much. You know, when the silicone is all on the surface, that's when you torch and nothing happens at all, then you know you've just totally lost your silicone. That's another thing that is kind of cool that I can show you here. And this is a question I've had a lot of times. Some people say, you know, I don't get cells, but what they do is they do the flip cup, so they put the canvas on there and then they do this. And then they walk away and they do some stuff because they think, oh yeah, then all the paint will come down. But what happens also is while the paint is all coming down, the silicone is all rising to the top. So then when you open up your cup, all that silicone will be on top and the paint is going to be spreading on the canvas, but that silicone really, it's all rising as you're waiting for the paint to level. And because you've waited so long with a cup like this, you know, it's on top. There's nothing you're going to be able to do if your paint is too thin. We're talking if the paint is too thin. Because then, you know, it has no resistance. It'll be on top. Then when you come in with your torch, you will see almost nothing happen. Maybe a tiny little couple of cells, but you don't see an explosion like you were expecting to see. So that's something that you might want to think about if you're doing that. If you're flipping the cup and then waiting way too long before you torch. This has gone totally gray, as you can see. See that? That's kind of a nice color gray though. And it's still selling as crazy. That's unbelievable. Yeah, another thing that I think is important, that if you're not achieving those cells, make sure you get a little speed in your paint, because that usually helps too. And that's what this palette knife does. When you push it over, you know, you're mixing the paint, you're pulling it back over the silicone because the silicone is already come to the surface. But when you do this, you're just pushing it back and then it has time to come back. I'm not sure if you can see it without a darker color in it. There it goes. See that? See how it comes back up? And if I were to leave it like this just for a while, and I were to torch this bit where everything is already on the top, you would see that, nothing happens, not really. Not one single little cell. Nothing. And that's what you have to always be, always take that into consideration when you're doing stuff, that if your paint's too thin, don't wait too long with torching, because that's not a good thing. Look at that. That is beautiful. Oh, I like that. Can't keep it because I've got a lot of stuff to do today. So thanks for watching, guys. If you want, yeah, I should do a little recap. So the recap is a little bit of paint in your cup, as much as you think you're gonna use. Then you put in the Floetrol, and you could do 50-50. You can do 1 part paint, 4 parts Floetrol. But if you want the intense colors, I'd lean towards 50-50. Then a little bit of pouring medium. Then when you're all mixed up and you're ready to go, put in the silicone and you're ready to pour. So thanks all for watching. Love you all to pieces, and I'll be right back with a black background and dark yellow, orange, light yellow, and white. And I'll try to recreate that thing I did yesterday. Okay? Thanks all. Bye-bye.